Welcome to LaughNapkin. Today I have 3 stories from r/ProRevenge and 1 bonus story from a mystery subreddit. Can you guess which one it is? Comment below with your answers. Also, I want to thank all of my dedicated subscribers for the support of this channel. At the time of recording this, we have 245 subscribers, only 5 away from the goal of 250, which is awesome. I couldn't have done this without the help of all of you. Also, join me and a few others on our Discord server. We're a small group of very chatty people and you're sure to have a good time. Link in the description below. Now let's get to the video. She'll regret that later. Note, names, places, and some medical issues have been changed for privacy reasons. So, a little bit of background. I met this girl a year and a half ago. She was one of my partner's friends and was friendly with one of his best mates. Immediately, she started glaring at me and started flirting with my partner, completely ignoring me. I later talked to my partner, telling him how comfortable she made me and how she was disrespectful. He talked to her but brushed it off as she was shy. She was not. She slept with every single boy in that group. Months passed and she has small digs at me. Nothing major, but enough for me to not want to be around her. I had my own issues with a group of friends, later sorted and was told they didn't know they were doing these things. This girl continuously got more and more vicious, calling me names at first, then making fun of my disabilities. I have severe mental and physical health issues. She even went as far as to try and look like the victim. Over 9+ months ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. My partner and I were going through a rough patch because of this and were fighting. We were both extremely scared. She manipulated the situation to try and make him break up with me. It didn't work. And so she started to tell my friends and the group of my partner's friends that I'm faking cancer to stay with him. And that if I did, she couldn't wait for karma to kill me. Not sure who does that. She even went as far as to make fun of me when my hair fell out. I was so incredibly upset and fed up. So fast forward to now. I finally finished treatment and was starting to feel good. When again, she's making up rumors, telling people I'm a drug addict and dealer, and that it was all a ruse just to get good prescription drugs and that I should be arrested. What she doesn't realize is that I have a year and a half of proof that she's been taking, dealing, and smuggling drugs into festivals. Not just for herself, but for anyone else who would pay. Where I'm from, there's been a massive crackdown on people bringing drugs into festivals for themselves, let alone supplying it for others. So I compiled everything into an anonymous email, including her name, address, birthday, etc. Told them how much she'd have, how she'd conceal it, conveniently leaving out everyone else's name. I don't care what people do normally, I was just over her crap. And sent it in to the police. She was stopped immediately at ID check, refused entry, and cavity search. She was found with over 5 grams of drugs and was arrested on the spot. Did I mention she hid them in her no-no place? To top it off, she resisted arrest and assaulted a cop. She still talks crap about me today, but oh boy, will she regret that when I go to the police station and report her for harassment, bullying, stalking, and threats against an enabled person. Story number 2. How I got my revenge on a TV show. So to begin this story, I have to explain. I'm a college student in Portugal, so sorry if my English isn't 100. I was born and raised in Azores, some little islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. In order to pursue college, I had to move to the mainland. For this, I had to rent an apartment. It's a good apartment, 3 rooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room and a kitchen, in a quiet neighborhood, so all good. This was until they started to do construction work in the apartment above. This construction work is made by a TV show called Quiero Mudar a Casa that literally translates to Honey, I Changed the House. It's quite famous here. They remodel the entire house, replacing everything in it with new furniture, new floor, you get it. So they make a lot of noise. I'm not the party kind of guy, and I'm quite calm and peaceful guy that likes to stay home, have friends here, drink a bit, play some games, etc. And I do a lot of my college work at night in the apartment. I spend most of my day in class. So to explain this, Portugal has a law that you can make noise from 8 AM to 6 PM. Most of my classes start around 11 to 12 PM, which works great for me since I go to sleep around 4 a.m. due to the work I have to do and little plus time for myself. They started drilling the floor at around 8 a.m. every single day. Me and my housemate were shocked at the amount of noise they were doing. We let it pass since they shouldn't take more than a week to replace the floor. I make that assumption because me and my dad did it once in our house back in the island. But no. That noise lasted the entire time they were there. I got a bit upset since I couldn't sleep, but I couldn't leave the college work undone, so I decided to try and talk with them. I went to the upstairs apartment and knocked. Then came this really fat and short guy looking at me like I wasn't even there, and the talk went like this. "Hi, I'm from the apartment below. Hey, what do you want?" I was gonna ask if you guys could start the drilling at around 10 a.m. I'm a college student and I do most of my work at night. Sometimes I only get to sleep at morning. Is it possible? Nah, we have a job to do. You should go to sleep earlier if you want to sleep. He closes the door. I was pissed, but remained calm. After all, it kinda is my fault if I go to bed at that time. Some time goes by and the noise continues. I get grumpier and grumpier. I call the customer service of the show and they politely say that there's nothing they can do about it since it's in the legal rights. I should talk with the guys in the apartment so we can come to a conclusion. Weeks go by, I'm wondering, that apartment is the same size as mine. How are they taking so long? Until a glorious morning I wake up. Normal routine. I go to the bathroom to take a shower. When I turn the light on, what do I see? My bathroom full of clay. Everything completely dirty. Rocks everywhere and a hole on top of the toilet. I'm furious. My housemate arrives home that morning. He's not a calm person in this situation. I tell him about this. We both go to the upper apartment. I convince him to let me talk. He agrees. I knock on the door. To my surprise, same fat guy, but this time he was looking at me. You guys opened a hole in my bathroom." He interrupts. Yeah, we know. We already covered our part." "Okay, but what about ours? Can't you guys fix it? I mean, you're men. Can't you fix the house?" My friend is furious, but I calmly put my hand on him and keep talking. "No way. You broke it. You're gonna fix it unless we have to call the landlord and sue your show for this." Okay, we'll fix it. No need to get all formal." We came back to the house. You could hear them making fun of us because of the hole. My friend is furious, but I'm calm because I already thought of a way to get them back. A couple of days go by when they finally decided to fix the hole. 2 nice guys came down and fixed it, said they were sorry and everything. We chatted and they were cool. But my revenge was already planned. Sorry dudes. Me and my friend both have JBL speakers, the good one that can really play loud, and this is where it begins. Every day I started to go to bed early now, so I could be up at 8 a.m. First I take a shower and set up for college, and then plug both of the speakers up to my laptop, search for Japanese porn, cause the Chinese girls scream like hell in a high-pitched voice, leave the volume up in maximum and let it play in a loop until I get home around 6 p.m. Oh, my amusement was speechless. My housemate agreed with this since we both started to leave the apartment earlier. One day we heard a knock at our door. It was the fat guy. "Hey, I don't know what you're doing, but it has to stop. We're recording today and we can't have these weird noises in the background." They record the episodes in the house so they can authenticate the sound of the house and everything. They could easily use a studio for this sound, but they're really cheap on saving money. Me. Since you're in the legal right to make noise from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., I am too. I can make the noise I want in that period of time. That will really hurt the show, and you know that. People love the show. Probably your mother watches it and loves it. Maybe, but she knows how things are around here and she doesn't really mind. I don't really mind, and the landlord doesn't mind. Can't you fix it yourself? The fat guy goes mad, starts stomping the ground as he turns around and leaves. This continues. I see the camera crew arriving from my window. They enter the apartment, knock on the door. I didn't even answer. Just some loud, lewd noises all day. This goes on for 3 days straight with the camera crew, but one day they never try again. I think the episode was cancelled due to the noise. The funniest part is that they make this construction free for the people. The only revenue they gain is from viewership of the episodes. It puts a smile on my face to know that they just wasted a budget for nothing. Ah, sweet revenge. P.S. I know this story can be petty too. I assure you none of the construction guys took this badly. They laughed and they would gladly start the noise a bit later, but the manager, fat guy, didn't want to for some reason. They thought it was stupid. Story number 3. My ex being kicked out continued and arrested. Background. Me and my ex had been together for just about a year and had decided to move in together for this most recent semester of uni, when we began to have a lot of fights, and we were on rocky terms for a little while. In this time, she would take advantage of my insecurities and my kindness so she would get more attention, while not giving any back to me. Most of our conversations at this point were apologetic or were trying to fix these problems, or at least I thought. Whenever I tried to talk to her in person, she would get hyper defensive and too emotional to deal with the facts I was telling her. Thus she would leave and message me over Discord Snapchat saying these horrible things to me, only meant to tear me down, adding in a few "maybe we should break ups" for good measure. One night I had enough and said it would be best to take a break and figure out from a third person perspective what was wrong in our relationship. She took this as breaking up. Not 2 days later, she brought someone over to our apartment to bang. This decimated me, leading me to have a mental and emotional breakdown while they were doing it in the other room. I had mutual friends get me out of our place for the night, where I explained our situation to them. They hated her for what she had done to me, and all of them cut contact with her right on the spot, which I later found out was a major hit to her ego, and that's not even the best part. Then, the guy she banged came to me and apologized for what had happened. He explained he felt bad for what he did, and he was told that we had been separated for 2 weeks, and was doing that the whole time, and that her wanting to bang him was the reason for her last breakup before me. And he came telling me because she's now going to bang his friend. Of course rage ensues, but for some reason not towards him. But a plan did pop into my head. College student apartments, at least around here, all sign in mid-February, and I took my chance. I gathered a group of 4 of her once friends, and we all signed a lease together, kicking her out of the apartment entirely. She has until the end of the month to find somewhere else to live. So I got out of this toxic relationship with all of her friends, and I kicked her out of her own apartment, so I hope that deed tasted nice. Oh, and I banged her best friend. This is all from the last post about 2 weeks ago. After getting her off the lease, she tried to get a replacement for the time she still had here, subleasing her room in the apartment, which is strictly not allowed in the contract we signed in the beginning of the year. By this point, she had gone full psycho, threatening people in the apartment complex, including herself, to the point where a roommate called for a wellness check on her, mentally abusing the other roommates, and all around was horrible. So I went to the landlady to get some info for what she should do next, where I got some information about what she had to do to get out of the apartment and away from what she had done to me. So I leave these papers saying that she legally can't sublease and can suffer legal consequences if she does. She loses it completely. She begins to yell at me for intruding in her life and ruining everything, even though she's the one that did it to herself. This escalates to her yelling at me about an inch from my face, to which I stand up to get her away from me, and she strikes me. She hits me in the face with so much anger, and that was the last straw. I built up the courage and went to the police and filed a report with a witness, and they, without me knowing until afterwards, arrested her on the spot. She had been charged with battery and then forced into a psychiatric ward for mental health monitoring. The police then allowed me to fill out a protection order restraining order against her, giving me the grounds to forcefully evict her from the apartment complex, and notified her employer of what happened, leading her to get fired the next day. She's the only person who I can safely say is dead to me. And if you ever read this, Brooke, I hope you burn in hell. Bonus story. Found my missing cat in my neighbor's place. Here in Australia, there's a wildlife law that any house cat can be outside from sunrise to sunset. My entitled neighbors knew that, as I stated once or twice after they had confronted me of my cat being outside. He was lying on the brick ledge that separates our backyards, and being a menace to the wildlife. No, he's terrified of birds. This happened about a couple weeks ago, which still makes my blood boil just thinking about it. There was a huge thunderstorm here, and due to the loud noises of the thunder, my cat took off to find shelter. After the storm had settled, both my partner and myself spent the next 3 to 4 hours looking for him in places where cats would usually hide to escape rain. When morning came, the entitled neighbor's grandson, an asshat of a person, was out the front tending to his car. When I asked him if he had seen my cat, he replied with, "Maybe he went looking for food because you're not feeding him enough." I stated that I do, in fact, feed my cat to the vet nurse's directions, due to him being allergic to a certain cat food brand. He replied with a shrug and, "Maybe someone put him out of his misery like your other cat," knowing that my other cat had passed away from being poisoned. He just laughed and went inside. I asked my entitled neighbors if they'd seen the cat, and they denied it. I even mentioned what their grandson had said, and they just waved it off as to state, "Boys will be boys. He loves your cat. He won't hurt him." 14 days passed. I used up every possible way to locate my cat. Posted him missing on Gumtree, several Facebook groups, and even asked the local vet and animal shelters if someone had handed over a cat fitting his description. Giving up hope of him ever returning, I visited entitled neighbors to hand over some fresh pet-friendly mints to give their cats and dog, when I noticed that in their lounge room window was my cat. They had him for nearly 3 weeks, hiding him from sight whenever we were outside calling his name or going door to door. They even paid their great-grandkids in candy not to tell us that they had him. Found that out from their non-entitled granddaughter. Karen, the only name I could think to put, stated that they didn't appreciate that my cat was outside all day, so they took him to teach me a lesson. Naturally, I took him back after a few choice words to both of them and their asshat of a grandson, who decided to try to take my cat back. Twice. He hasn't tried after we threatened to call the police. Well, that about wraps it up. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And did you figure out what subreddit the bonus story was from? Let me know in the comment section below if you figured it out. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, help me reach my 250 subscriber goal by hitting that subscribe button and bell. By the way, I just started a Discord server for anyone looking to be part of the LaughNapkin community. Link in the description below. See you next time.